Hello and good afternoon to all of the participants. On the behalf of Department of Electrical Engineering, Guru Nanak Institute of Engineering and Technology, Nagpur, I, Professor Avinash Velankivar, welcome you all for this 3 days online STTP on recent trends in electrical power system. So, without wasting much time, I would like to call our head of the department, Professor R. M. Bombe sir, to please inaugurate this particular session. Bombe sir.
Hello. Yeah,
Yes,
good
sir, you are
afternoon.
audible.
Audible? Yeah,
Yes, sir, you
good
are audible.
afternoon.
Please continue.
Good afternoon, all. I
Good
welcome you
afternoon.
all for 3 days online STTP on recent trends in electrical power systems from 27 July to 29 July 2020. For this STTP, we have all the resource person from various backgrounds. Today's session is delivered by Mr. Vilas Vandarkar, owner and trainer of CSAT Training Institute, Nagpur. Tomorrow's session is delivered by Professor Ravi Shankar Kankale, Assistant Professor, Sant Gajanan Maharaj College of Engineering, Shegaon. And last session, that is on 29 July, the session is on industrial distribution system and its diagnosis by Mr. Sunil Mahabad, ex-Deputy Managing Director, Mahindra and Mahindra, Nagpur. I request all participants to attend all sessions and take the maximum benefits of this STTP. I am thankful to management for giving us this opportunity to organize this STTP. I am also thankful to STTP coordinator Professor Avinash Velankivar and all my colleagues faculties. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bombe sir. Now I request Professor Yogesh Likhar sir to please introduce our today's eminent speaker, Mr. Vikas Vadnerkar sir.
Thank you so much, Avinash sir. It's my privilege to introduce Mr. Vikas Vadnerkar sir, owner and trainer at CISAT Training Institute, Nagpur. He has completed his BE in Power Electronics from Nagpur University and ME in Power Electronics and Drive from SGS ITS Indore. He is lead auditor OSAS 18001 MIE, MISTE, MIETE. He is TUV Nord ME approved trainer in electrical engineering. He is OISH UK certified professional engineer by IE India. Mr. Vadnerkar is technical expert in electrical engineering, having professional experience of 22 plus years, working extensively in the areas of training and development with steel, power, aluminium, and cement industries. He was associated with some reputed organizations like Minakshi Energies, ICER Steel Limited, Vedanta Aluminium Limited, Torrent Power, and Corning Technologies and Abhijit Group. Sir has conducted many training programs on various courses such as electrical drive, power electronics, switchgear and protection system, and operation and maintenance of transformer and motor, electrical safety, etc. We have great privilege to serve here. Thank you so much, sir. Avinash, sir, you can continue.
Okay, thank you, Yogesh sir. Hello, Vadnerkar sir.
हाँ बोल.
Okay.
Let's start.
So we have, yes sir, we have already completed the inauguration of the program. Now, if
Okay,
you are
fine.
comfortable, basically we are already 10 minutes. We are having 10 minutes. So can we start the session now if you are comfortable?
No problem. I don't have any problem. Okay. Good
Okay,
afternoon
sir.
to
Thank
all.
you so much, sir.
Good afternoon to all. So we'll be talking about faults in electrical machines, mostly on the transformer and motor. This is my introduction, whatever has been given by Ikhar sir.
and I'm an industrial expert. I have both that experience in industry as well as teaching. I am a approved trainer in electrical engineering. That is a TO node. It's an approving body. It's by Middle East, and I do conduct various training programs to many corporates, mostly in the field of electrical engineering. And my specialization areas is in electrical drives, power system, power electronics, and I do conduct the training programs on operation and maintenance of various electrical equipments. So today, this what we are talking about, this fault and diagnosis. So obviously there will be some protection of transformer and motor. Some advanced techniques that will be talk about the thermography. Then we'll talk about online offline monitoring systems. We'll talk about the current signature analysis for motor. Some case studies are there that I will try to give some case studies information to all of you. And if you have some questions, that questions can be discussed based on the requirement. Transformer, it's an electromechanical device. So there are some mechanical parts, there are electrical faults. Whatever the faults are there, faults will be categorized in both electrical as well as in mechanical systems. So electrical system is only have a winding. So we have a winding fault. Another is a mechanical fault. It can be a core fault. It can be all support system faults, auxiliary systems faults. So these are the 5 categories that we classified in transformer faults. Winding and terminal faults, it is a major one. Then another is the core fault, tank and transformer accessories fault. Then on-load tap changer fault. So there are 2 types of tap changers are used in the transformer. One is on-load, another is the off-load. So fault can happen at anyone. Then there are some abnormal operating conditions. So abnormal operating condition that can occur maybe because of internal as well as external systems. External systems like fault in a power line. So that may increase your voltage at the transformer terminals, which may lead to the failure of the transformers. It will come to the external faults. If we talk about some data, whatever the it's been gathered by the various industries or the systems, transformer almost it's a 12% of the total faults are because of the transformers. Then there are other systems like overhead lines and cables are there. So we'll just related to the transformers. So it's about the 12% of the total faults are because of the transformers. These are the internal faults. Internal faults normally it's categorized in category 1 and category 2. So it's a winding fault. So winding can be a winding to winding fault. So we say the face to face fault, line to line fault, or face to earth fault. It can be at terminal as well as the winding, means internal windings, or it can be at the terminals. So that categories are there. Then there will be short circuit between turns of the high or low voltage winding. So talking about high and low voltage winding, it means primary as well as secondary. There will be earth winding. Maybe if there is any tertiary winding is there in the transformer. So in that case, failure will be again the same thing. It can be an open circuit, it can be a short circuit. So these are the internal faults of the transformer. Then there may be some minor faults, which is categorized. Minor faults, what is it? It's a slow deterioration, like temperature is rising. Because of the temperature, then there will be a sludge formation. Sludge formation may lead to the fins of the cooling system or tubes, pipes. So slowly it increase, and then at one stage it may lead to the fault. There may be a coolant failure. Coolant is not moving properly, so that there will be a rise in temperature in the transformer, or any of the various parts like there are pumps, fans. Then there are many instrument systems. After WTI hai, temperature indicators, instruments are there, terminals are there, sensors are there. So anything can fail. So that is the minor faults. Then there may be a failure because of the if transformers are operating in parallel. So bad load sharing also is a possibility that there may be a failure of the transformer, because maybe it's possible that one transformer is carrying the more load, another is carrying the comparatively less load. So there will be a comparative load sharing, and which may lead to the rise in temperature of one of the transformer, and there will be a failure. There are some incipient faults. Incipient faults means the same like minor faults. It's developing slowly, and it will damage. Limited arcing, cooling system failure. These all are the incipient faults. Then there are through faults. Through faults means the faults at the outside of the transformer, like faults in maybe a substation area. In substation area outside the transformer, there is a power system lines. So faults in the power system line, which will lead to the failure of the transformer, that is called the through faults. Because of the fault in the external system, there will be a rise in a voltage or maybe a current. It can be a overload condition to the transformer, which will lead to the fault. Then there is a fault in OLTC, faults in bushing. Normally, this last one, the fault in bushing, is a very common thing in industrial transformers or the heavy transformers. It can happen that after maintenance, if there is a proper fitting is not been done, then there may be a failure in the bushings, and this is a one of the what we say the wide failure area in the transformer. We can treat it as a improper maintenance or improper fitting. Then these faults in the winding, what we say the internal faults of the winding, it can be controlled maybe by the source impedance, neutral earthing impedance, transformer leakage reactance, maybe a fault voltage or a winding connections. Winding connection, when we talk about the transformer, so it can be a star delta transformer. So based on the requirement, that connections can be a star or delta. One, keep it in one mind that whatever we are learning, it's a vector group. Vector group, it's a important function parameters in case of transformer connections. So I request all of you to get detailed knowledge about that vector diagrams. These other faults, it will lead to the all equipments in support systems may have a failure of function, which will lead to the faults like pump, fan, sensor, communication system, measurement instruments, and it will lead to the transformer failure. That's why the requirement of monitoring and regular maintenance is required. Then how to diagnose these faults? So know that there are faults in the system. So normally one should discriminate between failure and fault. We are talking about fault means fault in terms of electrical parameters, whereas failure, it can be a mechanical parameter. So failure can lead to the fault. So we require a diagnosis. So diagnosis can be a online monitoring and offline testing. During maintenance, we can do it. What parameters that we can monitor? It can be all electrical parameters like current, voltage, frequency, temperature. These all parameters, it can be monitored online, maybe through SCADA or whatever the softwares are available in the market. It can be monitored with the instruments. Then there is a continuous oil monitoring is possible. We have a thermal monitoring system is available. Thermography system is available, which will give you the temperature rise of the oil. Similarly, there is a WTI, winding temperature indicators, which will give the temperature rise in the winding. But normally just note that there is a difference between winding temperature and oil temperature. Normally we say it's around the 5 degrees centigrade. Winding temperature is always more than the oil. Based on whatever the parameters there is a oil quality, oil parameters are there. So by doing this online monitoring, we watch all the parameters in the oil, and based on that we diagnose it, what type of fault it will lead, or what action to be taken. So it is called as predictive and preventive maintenance techniques. Means in advance you will get it to know that what type of fault it will lead in the transformer. So you can stop the power supply, you can go for maintenance, so that heavy loss of the failure of the equipment, it can be prevented. These all are the transformer protection systems which we use it, like differential means, because we have two types of faults, internal and external. So based on that, we have to use differential protection, restricted earth fault protection, backup overcurrent protection, backup earth fault protection. Okay, and there are ranges of the transformer, that which transformer which we have to use. It's like example, differential protection. Differential protection, that is to be used maybe about 2 megawatt of the transformer. I'm just talking about the megawatt, but normally you can convert it into kVA. So because rating of transformer is in kVA, but the general unit is that whatever the megawatt is there, 2 megawatt, that is the range where you use the differential transformer. So means if you are using a electrical motor of 2 megawatt, you have to provide a differential transformer. Same you convert by using the power factor, you can convert into MVA. Then various other parameters, transformer overfluxing is there, physics are there. Then we use the Buchholz relay, TRV we are using oil search registers. Okay, these all are the protective systems, because we have to protect our transformer, so we are using the protection system. Various instruments we use, like WTI we are using, winding temperature indicators, oil temperature indicators. Okay, then there are some relief valves are there, which will relieve the gases which are produced in the tank of the transformer. Okay, so these all are the monitoring equipments and protective equipments. This total complete system, it will give you the transformer. So failure of any of the equipment, any of the support system, any of the auxiliary system, it will lead to the fault in the transformer, and similarly it will calculate as a fault. Monitoring, it can be done like oil temperature. Now there are two things. One is alarm, another is the trip. When to give alarm, when to give trip. Just a standard practice is there, that we allow transformer to rise the temperature, it's an around 90 degree. So there are you can say the margin of 85 degree to 95 degree. What is 85? What is 95? So normally 85 degree, it will give you the alarm that temperature is rising. And in some industries, they are tripping at 90 degree. And in some industries, they are tripping at 95 degree. If you note that present, whatever the insulation system we are using, that insulation system is, we are using around 180 degree. So whatever this data is there, this data is older one, when we are using the class B of insulation system, which is of about 130 to 155 degrees centigrade. That is the capacity of insulation system. Now the insulation system is rising, so you can increase the temperature of the transformer maybe at 100 degrees centigrade. But as temperature rises, the oil parameters also changes. So you are taking a risk by rising a operating temperature of the transformer, but that is possible just because of we are using the vacuum impregnation system for the insulation. Then there is a winding temperature. Same thing like alarm and trip is there. So because winding is there, 5 more degrees allowed. So it is 90 to 95 degree. 90 it will be a alarm. 95 it will be a tripping. Then there are oil level conservator. Normally it is half filled. Whatever we are studying, conservator oil level is almost 50%, and it level is there. That level indicator, it can be low and high. Dielectric strength of the oil, then ppm moisture content in the oil. So these all are the monitoring parameters which we use it, and that is the only monitoring of oil. It will give you the direct indication what type of fault it will be there in the transformer. Another parameter is there, that is last third one, that is the tan delta or capacitance measurement of winding and bushings. So please do note that this tan delta and capacitance measurement, it has to be done for everyone wherever we are using the insulation. It can be for cable, it can be for motor, it can be for transformer. This will give you the direct indication of the healthiness of the system or the winding. Same DGA, dissolved gas analysis, is a oil analysis. Means if there is a fault in the system and if you check the oil, depends on the temperature rise, number of gases are formed, that gases are being checked while testing the oil, and you get to know exact the reason. There is a FRRA test. Normally FRRA test is being done while commissioning of the transformer. So if anyone have get a chance, you can do this test, FRRA test, but it can be done only during the commissioning. Or if transformer failed and after transformer maintenance been done, so when you restart the transformer, that FRRA test can be done. Then various relays are we used for protection system, like a through faults are there. So it's a time graded overcurrent or earth fault relays are used, okay, which sense all these faults and it will trip the system. Then various other relays are there, like Buchholz relay, differential relay, RF relay, overclocking relay. So in present, we are using all numerical relays. So except Buchholz relay, all other relay, it covers in numerical relays. This Buchholz relay is a gift to the transformer. So why it's a gift? Because it will give you the clear indication what is the condition of the transformer, and it will protect the transformer for all internal faults. Alone, one man, it can doing 99% of the protection system. This is the Buchholz relay. We know where it is connected. We are connecting it to the main tank as well as in between main tank and conservator. This is the Buchholz relay. Okay, it will give you the alarm as well as it will trip if fault is more. Means if there is a serious fault, it has to be tripped, and same function has been done by the Buchholz relay. This diagram, seeing this Buchholz relay like in this picture, it's very easy, but to get to know each and every part of the Buchholz relay, it's a engineering. So whenever you have a chance, study this Buchholz relay in detail. There are some PRVs, then there are some controls, relays, sensors, everything is there in the Buchholz relay. This Buchholz relay, it has two elements. Okay, it is a float. That float, it will give you the one alarm, and another is the trip. So based on whatever the seriousness of the fault is. As told, Buchholz relay, it clears almost 99% of the transformer faults. So it is a simplest form of transformer protection, but it's very important. It detects the slow developing faults at a stage which is much earlier than other forms of the protection. Like if there is a short circuit, there is a heavy current flowing in the transformer, so you are using a differential protection, short circuit protection, earth fault protection. So there is a whatever the relay coordination is there, they accordingly it acts. But this is the simplest one. What is the disadvantage? Disadvantage is that it can only be used with oil immersed transformers equipped with conservators. It means for distribution transformers or roadside transformers where oil immersed transformers are not there or windings are not there, Buchholz relay are not being used. Like a present, whatever the resin cast transformers are there, you won't use the Buchholz relay. It is only used whenever the winding is oil immersed. This device, it can detect only faults below oil leveling the transformer, Therefore, separate protection is required for connecting the cables. Okay, this is what the disadvantage of Buchholz relay. Then we know that how it is to be connected. There should be some angle between conservator and main transformer. So again, that engineering is there. So whoever the supplier is there or of the transformer, he will give you the exact idea of how that construction is there. What it detects? It detects a gas produced within the transformer. So how gas is produced? That based on the temperature, means 90-degree gas production will be different, 120-degree gas production will be different. So there will be ethane, methane, acetylene, and around 100 types of gases are formed in the transformer based on the rise in temperature. Similarly, in oil surge from the tank to the conservator, that has been informed by the Buchholz relay because we are using the float. Then complete loss of oil from the conservator, that has also been indicated by the Buchholz relay. So this all function is completely Buchholz relay is doing. That's why it is a very much important. Means if whatever the fault is there, internal faults or not all internal faults is been identified by the Buchholz relay, it will give you the alarm in first case, and second stage it will be a trip. So this is all theory about that Buchholz relay who have invented that how that function is there. So you will get all this information in books. These all are the transformer protection which we are using. What we say, it's a monitoring protection. First is the differential protection, which is a tripping function. Then restricted earth fault, it is also tripping function. Backup, overcurrent, and earth fault protection, it's a tripping function. Transformer Buchholz strip, it's a tripping function. Okay, OLTC Buchholz strip, it's a tripping function. But similarly, there are some non-tripping function. What we say is as the alarm one. That alarm is Buchholz alarm. Then WTI, OTI, winding temperature alarm, oil temperature alarm. Similarly, low oil level, it's a alarm. So these all are the functions we use. This is what the general connections of differential protection of transformer for monitoring. Differential protection is used for internal fault. Just please note that the winding fault it has been monitored and it has been tripped. External fault is not been tripped by the differential protection. In that case, there is some like a restricted earth fault protection is there or short circuit protection is there, which is to be used for external faults. This is the choice of protection like size and rating of the transformer. So depends on the whatever is the application is there, the transformer size is there or rating is there. Power transformer or industrial transformer are normally in the range of a minimum 2 MVA. It can be up to 100, 200 MVA transformers are used. Then there is a vector configuration. Just while discussing, I told that it's a very important parameters of vector connections. So whatever the vector groups are there, it can be a 11, 1, it can be a 6. Okay. So you should have a detailed knowledge about the vector group configuration. Then there is a source and neutral earthing. There are various types of transformers like 2-winding, 3-winding, auto transformer, rectifier transformer. There is a earth transformer also. Like if you have a delta connection, in delta connection you cannot do any of the earthing. So how you do the earthing? Then we use the earth winding. So that is called earthing by earth transformer, or normally it is used in the substations, not any other places. The rating of earth transformer, it's almost around 5% of the whatever the rating of the transformer is there. Then there are another conditions for protections like parallel connections, radio connection, interconnections. You know all that connections of zigzag connections. That is called interconnection. Then OLTC range. Depends on what is the range is OLTC. Normally, present days, all these are because of power electronics equipments, we are using OLTC. But still in some earlier transformers, we have offload tap changers. But very rarely it is used. Various protection schemes are there. Overcurrent protection, earthfall protection. So there is another uh, uh, sensing equipments we are using. So like CTPD is also a sensor because it sense the whatever the higher voltage, higher current, it will give information to the relay and relay acts to trip the circuit breaker. This is how our protection system works. So there are some categories that which type of curve to be used. It's normally inverse, very inverse, extremely inverse. Okay. So we should know that when we do this protection, we use the relay coordination. Relay coordination means primary protection, then there is a backup protection. So first we have to protection to be done by primary protection because it's a selective protection. Otherwise, your complete protection system will fail. Means if there is a transformer failure in some area, if you know all the substations all are there are various grids. So one failure area, it is to be tripped only a particular in primary protection. If it is failed, then it will go to the backup protection. So for there is a gradation that is called the relay coordination. Backup protection that is to be worked only when there is a failure in primary protection. And all types of there is a backup protection like that backup overcurrent protection. Then there is a secondary protection. Secondary backup protection is also there. Means you can understand that there is a 3 levels of protections are there in any of the transmission system. Transformer is only one part of the transmission system. So second line is the time delay is high. Time delay is high means the primary protection normally it's a 30 milli second. If there is a first backup can be a 60 millisecond. Third backup it can be a 90 millisecond. Like that there is a gradation. So maximum time delay it can be up to 200 milliseconds or 300 milliseconds. Within 300 milliseconds, this all protection system to be worked and system to be protected or tripped in case of any failure. If it is not been operated or your protection system fail, then instantaneous systems are there. It will lead to the failure of the complete protection. So if you know or if you heard that sometimes back around 4 to 5 years back, there was a complete blackout in power systems. Like many grids failed. It's because there was a failure in the protection system and it will take a lot of time to restart it. Technology is advanced now. So many protection systems, because of numerical relays, it acts in advance and it protects. So various types, these all are the information of various relays like ground instantaneous overcurrent relay 15 is there, earthing protection is 53, then 57 is there. These numbers are the standard numbers. It has been given. So one relay can be identified using the number. So we're not talking about the different protection system. So, but this is the differential protection that how transformer works. Two cities are there which has been connected in primary and secondary. The difference between the current in two cities that is been measured and accordingly relay acts. So there are some standards practices are there like star side winding delta city to be used and delta side winding star city to be used, and connections are there for 3-phase 3 windings. Whenever there is a difference in winding because of the fault, So this is what the differential protection. Just see the diagram. Whenever there is a difference between two windings, this relay current will flow through the relay which has been identified and it will trip. This is how differential protection works. Same connection is for the motor. So last one, please note this, there is a 30-degree phase shift in case of delta or star transformer. So that's why I told that when winding is a delta, CT to be star. When winding is star, CT used to be a delta 1, which will give you the 30-degree phase shift. Then there is another form of fault is because of the inrush current. Inrush current, normally we know that whenever we do all the switching, inrush, there will be a heavy rise in current. Same thing happened with the transformer, and it is the inrush current. What we say, it's a 10 to 20 times of the natural current, or it can be around 500 times of the magnetizing current. So such type of current, it is to be protected, and that's why inrush current protection is also required. So what we say, it's like a second harmonics. Inrush current is nothing but a second harmonic. These are the components of the inrush current. So why would we say that's a harmonic component? So second harmonic component is almost around 63%, and that is to be protected. These all are the practical case studies for the identification of the fault. This is the thermography, what we say. It is one of the predictive and preventive maintenance techniques for fault identification. What it gives you a complete rise in temperature in any of the equipment, and it can be used for all electromechanical devices like electrical system, cable jointing. Then motors are there, motor bearing parts are there, mechanical systems are there, joints are there. Okay, in case of transformer, bushings are there. So here we use the thermography, and it is nothing but a simple camera like we are using in camera, but it is supported with a software, and it will give the indication which part it is used, or temperature is raised. One drawback is there, it is only giving you the indication that where the problem is, but it will not give you the why the fault is. That fault identification, it is to be understood by the self, that is called the judging. Like there are three terminals are there for three phase, only one phase is getting heated, so it will show you only the phase which has been heated, but it will not give you any indication why it has been heated, and that is to be analyzed by the self. This is called the thermography. This is a picture. I hope that it is clear to all of you that all photo pictures, it's a practical case studies. This is the picture for transformer terminals, that one of the terminal is getting heated. Why it is getting heated? It may be because of the loose connection. It can be because of the imbalance of the current. What we say, the symmetrical load and unsymmetrical load is there. So that concept comes here. And because one phase is overloaded, it will get heated. Or whatever the brazing is there, brazing means the connection of the terminal, it is loose, it will give you the continuous arcing. That arcing may lead to the fault, or it can rise in temperature. So that is to be identified or analyzed by the cells. This is the cooling fans. See, some part of the cooling fans is getting heated. Why it is getting heated? Cooling fans, it may be because of some fins are blocked, oil circulation is not proper, there may be a rise in hotspots in the transformer. So this has been detected by the thermography. Tap changer, if there are same thing like there is an imbalance in fault, there may be a continuous if there is a continuous changing in OLTC, it will lead to the arcing. that arcing may lead to the rise in temperature. So that particular part, it has been shown by the thermography. This is a picture of distribution transformer. See that one of the phase is getting heated. Why it is getting heated? That is to be again analyzed. Bushing. With the bushing, that one bush is getting heated. Again, what is the reason? The reason can be a bracing is not proper. There may be a loose connection. How that loose connection happens? It maybe because the a particular maintenance employee who was doing the maintenance of the bushing, but while fitting or refitting, he has not been tight the screw properly. So that can be the reason. Hotspots. Hotspots will created in the transformer because of the unequal distribution of the heat. So such hotspots has been shown by the thermography. This is the LV duct of the transformer. That one of the duct is getting heated. Okay. This is all complete. How you see that system is there. If you won't act for this particular indication, this is like it is an alarm. If you won't act, then it may lead to the fault in the system. So that's why it is been called as predictive preventive maintenance techniques. There are some IR images and optical images. One more advanced things are there in the transformer at present in case of CT and PT. That instead of it's a electromechanic device CT and PT, optical CT PTs are already introduced in the market. So it is fast, reliable, and it will give the fast indication. One of the disadvantage of CT PT is there, it's a saturation problem. Same thing in case of transformer. So because of this optical CTs and PTs, this saturation problem, it will be diminished, as well as the whatever the relay sensing is there, relay sensing will be a fast one and accurate one. So this optical one in coordination with your numerical relay, it will give the fast result. Protection system will be very fast, and no electrical equipment it can be damaged in future. This is the picture for bushing, and parallel clamps are there in case of substations where we connect it. It is a pipeline blockage. A pipeline blockage in case of oil, whatever the oil circulation is there in the transformer. So see, if any such blockage is there, that blockage has been also informed by the thermography. It is one of the best tool, which is online. There is no need that you have to stop the function. It can be used online anytime. It's like a camera. You can take a picture of any of the electrical equipments, bearings, bearing failure. It will give the best result. Restricted earth fault protection. It's a type of protection. Again, it is a earth fault protection, but it is acted within a particular area only of the transformer. Like differential protection, it will give the protection for internal fault. Restricted earth fault, it will give you the earth fault protection, but within a particular area. It can be maybe up to 10 meters, 20 meters area. That earth fault, it will be protected. Then this monitoring devices are there, like all instruments are there, WTI is there, OTI there, various sensors are there. These all are the monitoring devices which are monitoring the present conditions. This is being connected to the SCADA, and a complete online monitor is possible with the transformer. So all electrical parameters, mechanical parameters, oil parameters, gas parameters, that all parameters are being monitored. And all present, whatever the present system is there, this present system is completely monitored by the SCADA. These all are the instruments which is a support system for the transformer. Then various pressure devices are there. It's a pressure relief device. What we said, the pressure relief devices. Oil surge also there. Gas release is there. They has been used to release the gases. Then there is another system is there, which is an important one. It's called, we say, the safety. That all electrical equipments to be safely monitored. So we use the fire safety, and for that all modern techniques are available. Emulsifier system is available. Then buffer valve we use. Nitrogen injection system is there. Hydrogen monitoring system is there. Okay, and one new advanced technology is also there. That in case of fire to the transformer, that it will cool or diminish the fire immediately or as soon as possible. Then various faults in the motor. Again, it is a electromechanical device. Was like a transformer is a static. This is a rotating one. So we have a problem with static as well as the rotating system. So whatever the faults are there in case of transformer, all these faults are available with the motor. Except now there will be some rotational faults. Rotational faults like a mechanical faults, vibrations are there, bearing failure is there. These all are the rotational faults. So these are the common problems like vibration is there, noise is there, temperature rise is there, stator winding failure, temperature rise of bearings. There are two bearings, a driving end bearing, another is the non-driving end bearing. So both bearings can fail because of these abnormal conditions. Then there may be a oil leakage in the bearing. So like a transformer, there is a tank and it has been circulated through pump the entire winding for cooling system. In motor also same system is available. There will be a oil tank. That oil tank, it has been circulated to the bearing to cool the bearing. Okay, so it is possibility that oil will be leakage from the bearing, which will lead to the failure of the motor or rise in the temperature. So these are the problems for the HTAC motors. Small motors are different one. Industrial, bigger motors, other different things because it's an electromechanical device. So rise in temperature, you have to cool the system. So all cooling system is required. This is the analysis that there are stator related faults around 42%. See the another big chunk is a bearing related problems. Like it's around 38% faults are for the bearing related. Then there are some rotor related faults are there, and other normal some faults it will lead to the 90%, 9%. So there can be a terminal failure, there can be insulation failure, okay, or maybe a hinge failure is there, a base failure is there. These all faults comes in the others one. Another one, it's a vibrational problems like unbalance in the system. Unbalance it comes when there is a coupling. Like motor is there, there is a conveyor in between. You are using a coupling. If that coupling is not proper, it will give the unbalance. Unbalanced condition, it will give you the resonance systems. Okay, and that resonance, it will give you a pressure on bearing, and that bearing will fail. So it's like a chain. Once failure, it will give you the fault, or it's a failure of the complete system. Last one, that is the erection deficiencies. Why erection deficiency is there? Normally what happened in industries, there are two types of department is there. One is the project department, another is the O&M department. So project department, they are always in a hurry to complete the project, and in that case what happens, whatever the base is there, base for the motor, it is, if it is not a proper one, then erection will not be a proper one. and there will be a misalignment, there will be some angle between coupling, which will lead to the failure. Okay, so that comes in the erection deficiencies. So these all are the problems. It's the data that is being shown, like a misalignment is there, how it will lead. So it's again, it is a common thing. We know that if there is a misalignment, there will be a bending of the shaft, which will lead to the failure of the motor. Then another is the selection of the bearing. So proper selection should be there in the bearing. Like original manufacturer is there, he will supply the motor, but in case of failure, that if that bearing is not available, then what normally people do, they try to get the substitute of that particular bearing. So what is there? Again, it has to go to the purchase department. He will ask who is the cheaper. So bring that cheaper one. Okay. So it will not run because it's not been what is suggested by the OEM. So that is a bad anti-friction bearings. Then there may be a failure, loose connection of the housing. Because of the loose one, oil will leak. Leakage of the oiling, it will give the insufficient cooling of the bearing. Again, it will fail. So what we do? There are always some predictive preventive maintenance techniques. What we say is the identification of the fault. How to identify the fault? First condition is very common. Whenever there is a problem in the motor, it will lead to the vibration or it will rise in the temperature. So how we do it? Whenever we go to the site, we put our hand on the motor. It will give you two indications. First is the vibration and another is the temperature. So if you are doing the same thing regularly, it's like a doctor, that what temperature it should be, how much vibration it will give. So that is one of the best check for the fault identification. Then if you know that there is some changes there or some vibration is more, so immediately you have to stop the motor, decouple the motor if it is in complete condition, again start the motor, check if there is a problem in the motor or there is a problem in the coupling. Okay, this is called the preventive measures. When we do this installation of the motor, or another is the refitting of the motor, if same thing like vibration exists. Vibration is because of only two things. One, failure of the bearing, maybe because of the coupling, and second, because of the base. If your base is not proper, so what we do, we put the shimmering. Shimmering means it's like putting some rubber pad to the base of the motor, and so that vibration can be prevented. That is called the shimmering. It's a practical thing that which we do it. What we said the first one, it is called the weak foundation or supporting structure. So something is there. Then there is a rise in temperature. Rise in temperature of the motor, it is the major cause. Now, how to identify it? Rise in temperature of the motor. It is, everyone has been done like a short circuit test of the transformer, short circuit test of the motor. But in that case, what we do, normally it has been secondary is short circuited, reduced voltage is applied to the transformer, and primary has been provided with the rated one. Same thing happened with the motor. It's like a rotating motor. If it is stalled means what? It's a rotary stop. means it is a short circuit. So in that case, what happens? There is a rise in temperature. In the primary winding, motor burns. So that is a winding failure. Why winding is failed? Because it is a stalled. Why it is stalled? Again, there are some, maybe a electrical cause, it can be a mechanical cause. So one of the probable cause is the overload condition. Okay. Second thing, it may be possible that the load is same, electrical parameters like a voltage, current are same, but there is a failure of the bearing. Like in bearing, there may be a 12 or 13 sleeves are there, inner balls. So if one of the ball or one of the sleeves is failed, so means what? Load in other ball bearings or other balls in the bearings, it will increase. And this is a slow cause. It's a slow poison. It will lead to rise in temperature. Second, at the same time, if cooling is failed, then how to identify this? So we use the current signature analysis for this. So again, it is one of the best predictive preventive maintenance tool that has been used for the motor. It is an online tool as well as an offline tool. Both way it can be done. We'll just talk about this current signature analysis also. Then there are another other support system failure like terminal failure. Winding failure, it is the same thing like a transformer. There is a terminal failure is there. If you know or if you observe the things that most of the machines or most of the terminal boxes, you will never see that it has been completely closed. Either some of the nut bolts are missing or whatever the cap is there, that cap is missing. Same thing is happened everywhere. Okay. So it is a loose connection. It is a loose connection. That's called the looseness. And then there is a means whatever the distance is there between two terminals, if that distance is not maintained properly, there will be arcing. It's like a welding. So that arcing will also lead to the failure of the insulation. So this is the major one. It's not a like a small one that winding will be failed, but this looseness, it happened at any place. It can be at the cable, it can be at the joints, it can be at the distribution boxes. So that all looseness to be tight. So that's why we are, whatever the thermography is, whatever we have seen, it will give you always the information about the loose connection at the terminal boxes. First line, just see this, maintain a gap of minimum 5 mm in between the jumper connection in the winding overhang. This gap always be maintained everywhere. Just see the example, whatever the we have, like a 3-pin is there. In 3-pin, we have a distance between two terminals. That two terminal gap to be maintained. If not, there will be a short circuit. Or if you won't say the short circuit, it can be a arcing. Arcing is not a short circuit. Current will flow, but it will give you the rise in temperature. Same thing happened with the motor terminals. Then there is a temperature rise in bearings. Bearings because of the inadequate oil flow. Maybe a low quality oil is used for cooling. Maybe a touching of shaft collar with bearing brush. Misalignment. Okay, because it's a electromechanical one, these all failures are possible. What we do, you always check. How you check? Like told during visit, you just keep your hand on the motor, you will see the temperature and vibration. Similarly, all data to be checked parallelly. So what we do, again, we have two things are there. One is online monitoring, another is the offline monitoring. Online monitoring will give you the all parameters like voltage, current, temperature, speed of the motor. It will give you the online parameters. So depends on the normal parameter and abnormal parameter, you can see the difference. And accordingly, you have to take a decision either to stop the motor or you have to continue the motor. Abnormal sound. Abnormal sound again, it comes with the shaft. The shaft means the bearing, and another is the whatever the structure is there. In that structure, you will get the abnormal sound. High bearing temperature. High bearing temperature just because of the decoupling or rise in temperature or failure of the cooling system. Cooling system is very proper, like a complete bearing. It is immersed in the oil that has been circulated through storage, oil storage, and it is being pumped continuously. So hydraulic pumps are normally used. Then quality of the oil or greasing. See, do note that heavy greasing as well as low greasing, both are dangerous. Always greasing should be done properly, whatever the mentioned by the OEM, original equipment manufacturer. So all the guidelines to be followed, what has been prescribed by him. These are a more again what are the reasons are there for rise in temperature. Then oil leakage from the bearing. Oil leakage is happened just because of the failure of the whatever the your gaskets are there. That gaskets now if failed, then it will be a oil leakage. My standard practice says that there should not be a oil leakage from motor as well as in the transformer. In no case there should be a oil leakage. So you have to continuously check. You have to monitor the system. You have to monitor the pressure to the pump. Means whatever the hydraulic pump is there, the hydraulic pump is pumping the oil, that pressure to be monitored. Then there are various types of tests are there. What we say the offline test. So like in transformer, it has been informed that a tan delta test or capacitance test is important. So same thing is with the motor. Just to check the healthiness of the motor, we do take the values of tan delta, what we say the capacitance test. Then we use the PI, polarization index test. Okay, that PI value should be within the prescribed one. Then IR test we do. IR test measurement of the insulation resistance of the winding. Then another test is there that is called a dielectric constant, DAR test. Dielectric absorption ratio test. It is same as that of PI. That we give the high voltage to the winding maybe for some 15 seconds, then for the 1 minute and another for the 10 minutes, and the ratio has been maintained. If that ratio is within a limit, we say that healthiness is there. If it crossed that limit, then we say that there is a unhealthiness of the winding. If it is a unhealthiness, it means whatever the prescribed load is there, that motor or transformer, it will not allow the same load. So what we do in that case, normally we reduce the load. So that load can be a 90% or 95% of the rated one, depends on whatever the value is there. In case of tan delta or capacitance test, normally a 1 degree rise or 1 degree change is allowed in 2 year span. It can be like a 2 degree, 3 degree change is there. That degree is allowed because by the age this contamination is there, and because of contamination life will come down. Various faults are there in the motor, like motor does not run, motor stalls. So we should analyze what are the various causes are there, why it is not running. Like we say the motor does not run. Simple thing is there that you check the power supply. You are not switching the power supply and you are saying that motor is not running. Now power supply is okay. Check the fuse. If it is not there, fuse is also okay. And suppose it is a drive, electrical drive is there. check the enable disable parameter for the motor. Okay, so means what are the parameters are there just to running the motor, that we should know it. So if not, motor will not start. Last point, like a speed pot set to 0, turn pot in clockwise connection. Like you said that it's okay, motor started, but it is not enabled. So you have to enable the system, motor will start. But this is only in case of the drive, not for the normal motor. Normal motor will start whenever you give the supply. There is a contactor. Contactor will act, or if there is a starter, starter will act, and motor will start, giving a heavy starting current. Then motor stalls or runs very slowly. Okay, so various causes can be there, like load is more because of overload condition, motor is running slowly, or motor is stalling because of the harmonics. So we should know what should be the possible reasons. So there are number of things are available. Just check one by one, one by one. Motor hunts. Why motor is not running, or start stop is happening? So what are the possible checks? So like this, many faults are there in the motor. Then pull out all stall protection in case of induction motor. So we know all that reasons. There is a starting zone, there is a breakdown zone, there is a stopping zone in case of motor. We say it's like acceleration, deceleration. Then there is a dynamic starting, steady state starting. Okay, so all these concepts are required. One more thing, like in industrial motors, there is a starting capacities are there. Like it can be only 2 start in hour, 3 start in an hour. More than that, you cannot start the motor. It's not like a frequent start and stop, because every start the current rises normally 6 to 10 times, and because of the rise in temperature, rise in current, temperature rises, and if you give the frequent start or stop, the insulation failure may be there. So manufacturer is prescribing normally 2 or 3 starts in an hour. So it's a bearing failure because of the maybe oil, because of the load, maybe a deterioration. Okay, these all are the mechanical problems. Failure of oil supply. Why failure of oil supply? Because it may be a pump is not working, or maybe your whatever the pipe is there through which oil is flowing, it has been blocked. Okay, so anything can possible. So that's why transformer told whatever the support system is there, that any failure of the support system, it will lead to the fault. So let's talk about this electrical current signature analysis. Current signature analysis, it is a online tool, what we say the online monitoring for the healthiness detection of the motor. It is not for the transformer, it is for the rotating system like the motor. What it does, it gives you the diagnostic. Now see the difference. In case of thermography, what we been told, it is giving you the exact place where the fault is. It is not giving any reason. Okay, so we have to apply our mind. But in case of electrical current signature analysis with support software, it will give you the cause as well as it will diagnostic the system. Like bearing failure is there. So in case of bearing failure, which particular part is failed? Or if there is a winding failure, so which winding is getting failed? Or what is the reason of the failure? That complete analysis is being done by the signature analysis. It is also called as torque analysis. And it is an online tool. So what we do? We connect CT to the stator of the winding or primary of the motor, and a continuous monitoring has been done, because there is a pattern changes as big fault is there, pattern changes, that pattern has been analyzed by the software. So again, it is one of the tool of predictive and preventive maintenance techniques. It is called a diagnostic tool for the motor. So this is the one of the system is available for, it's called Empath 2000 system. Many more are there. It comes with the software. There are some consultants in the market who normally come to the industry and they do this current signature analysis once in a 6 months or a year, depends on the requirement, and they give you the analysis. Or if not, people are using this analysis system for online monitoring system. So this is a system. It will give you the complete fault detection in case of motor. What are the faults? Like a stator fault, there is a rotor fault, there is a bearing failure, it can be a terminal failure. That complete analysis is there. So I will directly go to the result. I will not go much with the theory. I will just show you the result, that how it is there. This is one of the case study where there are broken rotor bars are there. It may be whatever the rotor rings are there. If that rotor rings is fail, a rotor bar will fail. See the pattern. Okay, there is no the same pattern. At one place you can see the change. Okay, that particular bar is been analyzed and it has been showing that which particular bar is failed. So it is give you the result as well as the analysis. This is what the broken rotor bars. This is turn to turn short circuit. See, there is a three-phase supply. Okay, but in one of the phase, okay, you see that there is a change. Okay, this has been mentioned that this particular state is changed and that has been informed. So this is a turn to turn fault. This is a bearing problem. Now in bearing 360 degrees there. So suppose there are 12 balls. So each ball it will represent a 30 degree. And see the pattern, that some pattern you will see the change. That particular change has been informed that that particular number ball or whatever that pellet is there, that pellet is failed in the bearing. Then there is a change in static eccentricity of the motor. It means unbalance. Okay. See the pattern. All this pattern has been gathered just because of the change in the current. To the input, there is only one input to the motor. The CTs are used to connect in all three phases. All three, whatever the current pattern is there, that current is pattern that is being studied by the software, and you will get the result. Then there is a gearbox problem. Okay, so this is how the pattern will be there for gearbox failure. Variable frequency drive. So if you are using a drive in case of motor, okay, then pattern will be different. What pattern will be different? There may be some changes in the frequency. There may be changes in the harmonics. That has been completely analyzed. Inrush testing for the motor. Okay, how much current is there? That current rise in the input current. So these all are the various case studies for the motor. Similarly, case studies are there for the transformer, like motor failed. So whatever the analysis is there, that analysis is being shown that most of the time bearing fails. Why that bearing fails? That bearing fails because of the coupling is not proper. Means whatever the drive end is there, the drive end and load, it has not been connected parallel. There is some slight change in the degree. So it gives the imbalance, which will lead to the failure of the bearing. So like that, these many case studies are there. Okay, and every time whatever the observations are there, based on the observation, various problems have been analyzed and that is to be corrected. So these all are the data collection from the current signature analysis for various pages. Whatever the data is there, see the normally data it will be in terms of the what we say the waves or signals, and we know that we can measure only the magnitude and frequency. So it's the amplitude which we do it, and based on that all these analyses are there. One advantage is there for current signature analysis, that it will give you the exact analysis. Okay, so because you know the cause as well as what you have to do, it will suggest you what you have to do. So it will cost reduction is very much. Just see that you have some problem that tomorrow I will say that tomorrow there will be a fever to you. Okay, so take precaution today. So the same thing with the electrical equipment, but whatever the failure is there, which will tomorrow it will come. These all analysis tool advance in advance they are informing to you. So it's a huge cost saving to the company. It will lead to the less failure of the electrical equipments. Okay, as well as it will be a boon to the maintenance people because they know the exact thing. Analysis is very done. Maintenance can be done by taking a proper breakdown. Cost saving is much more. Like that, many more advanced predictive preventive maintenance techniques are available both for the transformer as well as the motor. So in case of transformer, like a DJ is there, dissolved gas analysis. The DJ, similarly, there is a furan analysis is there. Same is the oil analysis. Another is there, min is there. What is called a Mino index number for the oil. So various other parameter tools are there. All this it will give you the exact reason what is the problem in the oil system and why it is there. So it can be a overcurrent, it can be a continuous overloading, it can be a short circuit in case of transformer. So we use all these tools for our predictive preventive maintenance techniques. So it is called it as a diagnosis of the problems. So we stop there. Anyone have question they can ask.
Okay, participants, hello. I request all the participants to please use the chat box. If you have any questions, please put down into the chat box. Okay, sir, there are a few questions.
Yeah.
So one question is from S. Ravi Shankar Naik. What is the maximum capacity of HT-AC motors in India? Where we can use these motors?
8,000 megawatt.
Okay, and there is one more question also there. Where we can use these motors?
This is all industrial use. Just see the application like a conveyor. Okay. In conveyor, what suppose there is around 1 kilometer long mining. So mining they are using the conveyors. Okay. So either you have to use the bigger machine or you can use the smaller machines all in parallel. So both options are available. So it's a cement industry, coal industry, they use it. So heavy motors normally use in the cement industries based on the capacities. So mining and cement industry, there are using the heavy motors. ESA and MPAT both are different softwares. ESA, it's a electric current signature analysis. It is a method. MPAT 2000, it is a software tool. Okay. So to do the current signature analysis. So it is a method and it is one of the tool.
Okay, any questions from the participants? Any questions from the participants?
Many Telugu people are there. Radgandi sir, any questions are there?
Okay, I think the questions are not there.
Okay, fine.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Basically, I would like to sincerely say thank you to Vikas Vadnerkar, sir. He has spared time for us, and in a very short span of time, he has covered a very important practical aspects of electrical transformers and motors and their various diagnostic systems which are practically used into the industries. So, Vadnerkar, sir, I really want to say thank you to you on the behalf of the Department of Electrical Engineering Management, GNIT.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one more question is coming.
Yeah.
Sir, can we take the question?
Yeah. Without roaming earth connection, is it permissible to conduct IR test? IR test is for the winding, not for the earthing. So when we do that, we should have only two conductors. What we say, one should be an insulation, and another should be a conductor. In between, there should not be any direct link. Okay. So earth connection is there, conductor is connected to the earth, and if it is connecting to the insulation system, normally it's not allowed. That all connections to be removed.
Okay. Okay, sir. Once again, I would like to say thank you to you for your valuable time and the way that you have enlightened these particular topics in a very short span of time. It was wonderful, sir. Wonderful session it was.
Thank you, sir.
Sir. So thank you, sir, once again. And for the participants, there is one there is one notice for the participants. So the link for the today's attendance and feedback will be provided on the WhatsApp group. Okay, and the link will remain active up to 7 p.m. So all the participants are supposed to fill that particular feedback form, which will be posted on the WhatsApp group up to 7 p.m. only. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Varnekar sir. Thank you. And
Thank
now,
you, sir. Thank you.
from the permission of Honorable Bombay sir, I would like to say that the session is now concluded. So tomorrow will be the same time for the session on 2 p.m. And the link for the session will be posted to the WhatsApp group 1 hour before. Okay, thank you all the participants. Thank you for your participation. Thank you. We will meet tomorrow. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Varnekar sir. Thank you, Bombay sir.
Thank
Sir,
you.
is there any feedback link?
Yes, sir. It will be posted on WhatsApp group, sir.
Thank you, Vandarkar, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, now I declare the session is concluded. Okay, thank you.